Hi everyone, Tracy here with another layout from Studio Calico Front Row Kit. I have popcorn and matinee add-ons. You just see me going through them there. And I have a variety of pictures. I've been going through old pictures and putting them into Project Life type page protectors. And so as I did that, I've been kind of pulling out some pictures that I thought I might like to do 12 by 12 layouts of. So I'm just going through and picking out I'm actually using one of my wedding photos here. I did not scrapbook my wedding photos, and so this is a chance for me to do that with one of them. So I just picked out some of the colors that I took out some other wedding photos because I wanted the papers to kind of match the colors in my wedding, even though none of my wedding colors are in this photo. I just thought I might end up doing a companion page that has the bridesmaids' dresses, which had they didn't wear dresses, they had blue skirts. And so I'm just picking out some, as I was saying a few minutes ago, some neutral papers, including that really nice Studio Calico vellum and any kinds of papers that have those watery blue and green colors, because this photo is taken of Scott standing in the ocean holding me, and it was a nice candid photo. It was actually taken by a friend of mine, not by the photographer who we hired. We had a very, very casual wedding, and I mean, we did hire like I wore a real wedding dress and we hired a photographer, but it was a super laid back, pretty unstructured wedding. And we got married outdoors, right by the ocean. And so I wanted this layout to kind of be relaxed and not have that formal feel of like a wedding layout. So this paper I love. What's this company called? Um, Oh, Color Conspiracy is the company who makes that. And what I'm cutting right now is a piece of Tim and Beck paper. And I love how that Tim and Beck paper, often the back side of it has like all kinds of layers and interesting little details on it. So I have that wood plank, which is Color Conspiracy, that kind of layered looking paper in the very back, which is Tim and Beck. And then I have the Studio Calico vellum. And that vellum has like a brown chevron printed on it. It's really, really pretty. So now I'm using that Studio Calico. I really wanted to use that stripy type of Studio Calico paper, and I needed something dark to kind of ground the top and the bottom, so I just took one strip of that basic gray paper. I thought about matting the photo, but I really wanted it to look casual, and I'm actually going to make it look like it was taped down with washi tape, even though I'm going to use adhesive to stick it down. I want it to have that. And the sides on this photo, because it's old and it's been stored in the basement, they're naturally curling up a little bit on each of the longer sides. And so I want to kind of emphasize the fact that this is kind of like a post hoc kind of way, way, way after the wedding. I'm scrapping this picture in a kind of a casual kind of way. So um, I'm just gluing down those strips in a couple of places, just on one edge, and just letting the other side kind of flap. There I go with that gold star washi tape, which I love. That's the tape I'm going to use to attach the photo to the layout, although I'm also using some ATG. Um, so I'm just thinking about what stamps I'm going to use. These are the stamps that came in the kit. I don't have a block quite big enough for this one. And I wasn't sure exactly where I wanted to use these little arrows, but I knew I wanted to use them. So I tried off stamping onto another piece of paper, and it didn't come, the second time it didn't come out at all. And I think I'm using charcoal ink from Hero Arts. And I'm just about to grab some of my layering papers, which I keep in a 12 by 12 tray in one of my Jetmax. And so this is a shiny vellum that it's from the paper company, and I just got it at my art store, and I'm going to pull up my photo so that I can attach it underneath and just layer it. Um, And that adds a bit of shininess and kind of goes with the wedding theme. I couldn't use my punch on that tissue paper. Somebody sent me that tissue paper and I think it might be Seven Gypsies. I'm using temporary adhesive to attach it to a piece of craft cardstock that it's just a thin cardstock. And then I'm gluing it under there. Then I realized I wanted the scallops to kind of curl up and follow the line of the photo, which curls up. So I had to actually rub off all of that temporary adhesive off the back of the tissue paper. Now I'm just sticking in some foam dots, but I'm not taking the backing off of them so that if I want to stick anything else in there, I can. So they're basically just holding space. They're just you know, holding all the layers apart just to make to give some interest. So I'm just showing you there that I'm basically putting a layer behind the vellum, a layer of foam, and I just put it where you couldn't see it. So then I took another one of those Jenny Bolin labels, the plain labels in the blue, and I also have a L Studio June tag, which is just sitting on my desk by coincidence, and it happened that our wedding was on June 21st, so I thought that matched quite nicely. And pulling up the layers to add another layer in behind, I wanted that circle, which came in the kit. It's a circle label. I'm going to use one of the long labels too. I'm just trimming down that L Studio so that it layers a little bit nicer, and yeah, fussing a little bit with it. Going to trim off the extra on that blue label, and I'm loving how that top cluster looks. So now I'm going to go down below and start working on the bottom cluster. So I'm a little bit out of screen here. I'm using my tiny attacher to make it look like I'm stapling the June, the L Studio June tag, and then I'm just going to use my scissors to close the staples and put a bit of washi tape so it doesn't scratch anything. And I'm putting a couple of enamel dots up there just for a little bit of interest. And hopefully I'll move my layout up so that you can see me working on, I'm kind of fooled around with where I wanted the enamel dots to go. Hopefully I'll move my layout up so you can see what I'm doing here. Yeah, so I put one of the long labels down there, the blue ones that came in the kit, and now I'm just taking the Love You More stamp that came in the kit, and I used Island Indigo ink. That's just a sample of some of my Hero Arts inks that I got. They're new, so I just want to keep in mind what the colors are. But I ended up wanting a darker blue just so that it would stand out a little bit. So I used Island Indigo by Stampin' Up, one of my very favorite blues. I love stamping in that color because it's just dark enough that it shows up quite nicely. So it says Love You More, and then I'm going to put some letter stickers down there. And I didn't even look through my letter stickers. I just picked these out without even looking at what the options were because it's such a watery color. It just really fit with the feeling that I wanted to have with this layout. And so I'm putting each day, and then I'm also putting a Z at the end. And that's because I knew I wouldn't want to use the Z for any other thing. For any other purpose, and I'm going to cover the Z with a little heart. I haven't decided which heart yet. I wanted to use a tiny red button and then put a tiny blue heart on top of it, but I don't have a tiny blue heart, and I don't have a tiny punch, and I also didn't have a tiny red button. So I'm going to use my Fashionable Hearts Embosslet from Stampin' Up. You see it right there at the bottom of the screen. And I wasn't sure which kind of paper I'd want to use, so I have this little scrap of red. It's like a soft red with tiny polka dots, and I don't know what collection that's from. It's just from my scraps. And then I also have a piece of red cardstock. I think that's probably Stampin' Up. It looks like it might be real red, or cobbler, cherry cobbler. So anyways, the tiniest of those Fashionable Hearts was the right size to cover up the Z. And I mean, the reason I used the Z is that I just wanted it to look like it was part of the subtitle there, Love You More Each Day. And yeah, so you'll get to see. Then I took one of the other Fashionable Hearts that came out in that roll through and just stuck it up in the top cluster, just so that that one tiny heart wasn't the only one. Now I just have my wedding album out, And I just wanted to check and make sure that I was using the right phrase for my title. The title is Today, Tomorrow, Forever, which was kind of the theme for the wedding. The program had that phrase on it, and we used it in a couple of different places during the day. And so I just wanted to make sure, it's been 10 years, so I wanted to make sure that I remembered the phrasing and whether there was, I couldn't remember if it was today, tomorrow, and forever, or if it was just today, tomorrow, forever. And sure enough, there is no and, so I'm glad I looked it up because I probably would have put an and in there. Um, you saw me there looking at a bunch of different thickers. I was thinking about maybe doing it in blue, maybe doing it in white. I took out a couple of different white letter stickers and I thought about doing like each word in a different kind of a white, and then I thought that would just be way too busy. And I love, these are my all-time favorite thickers. These are Goodness by Amy Tangerine. I have several packages of them. Just because I was afraid that they would stop making them and I would never and I would run out. So I just took those out and used them, and I just love the look. I think they're perfect for this layout because they're nice and clean and simple, and that's what I wanted with this layout, was the clean and simple. So now I'm just running that Fashionable Hearts through again with the tiny little scrap. Look, that's all of the paper that I have left of that paper. So I'm like literally using every little tiny scrap of it. I wanted to get one more heart on this layout, and so I'm going to put it after the word forever. And that's where it is, and I'm putting the asterisk from the font right on top of it. And I just had to glue down my photo on the edge there because I'm layering some of my letters over top of it because the word tomorrow is so long, and I didn't want the W to fall off the edge of the paper because there's a layer, there's a pop dot below that. So, and just fiddling a little tiny bit with the space. It was a bit easier to line up these fonts because of the wood planks behind that vellum, and you can see through the vellum, so it made it quite a bit easier for getting the title right. So now at this point I think I'm almost done, but I'm wrong. So because I'm actually going to go back and add something off screen, and I'll show it to you at the end. So now I was thinking about just leaving it plain at the top there above today, and then I decided to add something just because, you know, it's a wedding layout and a little bit of white glittery bling is kind of nice on a wedding layout, no matter how casual the wedding was. So I'm just layering a piece of blue grid washi tape, and it's that nice blue that's kind of like an oceany blue, like what I've been using on the layout. So I thought it was perfect for this application. And I'm just placing it above so that it layers onto the photo, but I still wanted the torn edge of that vellum to show. So I'm using pop dots on the edges of my banners like I often do, but I'm actually sticking them down, which sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but in this case I am. Oh, there's Naomi, and I think my daughter is visiting me here too. Yeah, she is. So she's looking at those stickers, and I'm trying to convince her that maybe she should work on one of her craft projects. And she was wanting to stay with me. So that's why her cat, that's Naomi, that's kind of my daughter. Well, they're my cats, but Naomi has taken quite a liking to Olivia. So now I'm looking at my roller date stamps, and I had this idea. I know that they don't go back as far as 2003, but I had this idea that maybe I could stamp 2013 and then change it into 2003, and it did work. So that's what it looks like. I didn't do quite as good a job on the actual layout, of course, as I did on my test paper, but I managed to make it into 2003. The very last one, because it was triple stamped, I really should have used a gray pen, but I was in too much of a rush to really think it through and use my black pen, but you know, it's okay. Using my samples to pick some colors of Mr. Huey's that I'm going to splatter diagonally across the page. The white one is really messy. It's like it globs all around the edges of the bottle. I also use some watercolor as well as the white. And I find that unless if you're using as long as you're using pattern paper and cardstock that isn't too glossy, Mr. Huey's dries fine for me. I know a lot of people complain that it doesn't dry, but it always just kind of seeps right in. So here's me talking some more. Hi guys, so I just wanted to show you guys a couple of final details I added to this layout. I added some wood veneer arrows from Studio Calico. They came in the kit. And they just kind of filled this space. There was a bit of an empty space here that I just wanted to fill in a little bit. And then just to go along with the wood veneer, I added a wood veneer geotag. I don't always, sometimes I'll put a geotag right beside where I write a place, or kind of like pointing to a place or the name of a place or something. But sometimes I just use the geotags in less of a literal way to kind of mean like this is where we're at right now type of thing. So, you know, I just kind of like the look of them, so I don't mind them floating without a definite place attached to them. I was going to initially use the geotag kind of right around here, and then on the vellum right here, write Pictou Lodge, Nova Scotia, which is where we were married, but I basically didn't want to introduce another place that I was adding things, because I already had like a little dot here, I had a cluster here and a cluster here, and then this was becoming a cluster, so I didn't want too much going on, so I just decided to add that geotag there. So I'm just going to give you guys another close-up. The roller date stamps don't go as low as 2003, the ones that I have anyways, so I just stamped 2013 and changed it to 2003. I should have probably used a gray pen for the last one at the very least, but I love the interest that this paper gives with all these papers by Tim and Beck with all the layering on them make a really great layer because, well, it just adds a lot of detail. I love how the KI Memories banner looks with the washi tape layered underneath of it. That was awesome. I love that. Little splash of color there. Love you more each day. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. Here are some more photos. If you've got any questions or comments, as usual, just drop me a line in the comments section. And I try to get back to people, not always right away, but I try to get back to them eventually. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.